Good morning, everyone. Good morning. It is Friday. Happy Friday, and welcome to another Bitcoin and cryptocurrency news. I am George. Again, happy Friday. There's so much to talk about today. There's so much. It's definitely a good time to be a Bitcoin bull, and there's so much positive news. Bitcoin is basically unstoppable at this point. And even someone like Paul Dodor Jones, who just conducted an interview on CNBC, he compares Bitcoin to being like Apple and Google, the early days. But he makes a point that Bitcoin is even stronger or could be stronger than they are. So it's a big endorsement, but there's a lot of positive news, a lot of bullishness, a lot of good momentum for Bitcoin that's building up. And we know it's gonna go a lot higher. It's definitely going to go a lot higher. So, thanks for tuning in, guys. Hopefully, my mic is at a good volume. As always, hit the like, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and let's get started. And of course, I have these streams every Friday. Seems like people have forgotten. Every Friday, 11 a.m. Right? So make sure you tune in. And of course, after my whole spiel about the news, let's do Q&A and keep it lively. That is why I have these on Friday. All right, so let's look at Bitcoin. 12,920, not too shabby. It really wants to just hug this 13,000 line. So I'm just going to draw another line because that is like the new 11,000 now. So let's just draw right here, right? So 13,000 has become the new upper resistance, but Bitcoin does not look like it wants to head down. It looks like it's just holding here. It's trying to break through. And once it does, we know that 14,000 is right around the corner. And then after 14,000, there's just a whole bunch of white space on top. There's really no resistance from 14,000 all the way up to 20,000. So that's what's going on right now with Bitcoin. Slowly rising. And when it's ready, it's ready. And why is it rising? Because there's just so much going on. There's so much going on. But first, I encountered this interview this morning. Okay, so I want to show you guys this. Now, some of you guys may know Paul Dodor Jones. I didn't before, but turns out he's one of the biggest macro investors out there. Definitely a billionaire. And he was introduced to Bitcoin not too long ago, and he even admits it, right? Like at first, he just got into Bitcoin because he's like, you know, I just want to diversify a little bit, right? Put like 1 to 2% of my portfolio into Bitcoin as a hedge, as a risk, right? But now, you know, if you look at, it's been months now. If you look at what he's saying now, it's a totally different tune. He's really bullish on Bitcoin now for all the right reasons too. So take a listen. He makes an argument that I don't see a lot of people talk about, and we'll discuss afterwards. So it's about 2 minutes, very short clip.
Bitcoin has a lot of the characteristics of being an early investor in a tech company. And I didn't realize it until after, unfortunately, I came on your show and got besieged by God knows how many different people on Bitcoin. And again, I've got small single-digit investment in Bitcoin. That's it. I'm not a Bitcoin flag bearer. But what I learned was, and what I was so surprised by, is that Bitcoin has this enormous contingent of really smart and sophisticated people who believe in it. And now when I think of the menu of the inflation hedges, the thing that Bitcoin has, again, it's like investing with Steve Jobs and Apple or investing in Google early. You've got this group of that's, by the way, crowdsourced all over the world that are dedicated to seeing Bitcoin succeed in it becoming a commonplace store of value and transactional to boot at a very basic level. And so I've never had an inflation hedge where you have a kicker that you also have great intellectual capital behind it. So that makes me even more constructive on it. If you think about it, if you're long 2s, 30s, right, you're effectively short the bond market. That's your inflation hedge. You're really betting on the fallacy of mankind rather than its ingenuity and entrepreneurialism. So I like Bitcoin even more now than I did then. I think we're in the first inning of Bitcoin.
All right, so that was Paul Tudor Jones. So as you can tell, he's very, very bullish on Bitcoin. But he mentions two things that are interesting. Number one, he compares Bitcoin to Apple and Google, and I'll add in like Tesla, right? When these companies were very early on, there's a lot of, somehow the leaders of these companies built up like a cult-like culture and also following. So, despite the bad, they always carried forward because of that cult-like follower, following, or the followers just wouldn't give up on it, right? So he's making that comparison with Bitcoiners, which is really true, right? You have like people that really believe in Apple. They bought in on the Apple ecosystem, right? And same thing early on too, before iPhones and all that stuff. There was hardcore Mac people and stuff like that, right? And same thing with Google early on. When they came out, they weren't the first search engine, but they were able to build something special in Silicon Valley that a lot of people followed. And right now it's the same thing with Tesla. Tesla stock, and people will buy Teslas, including myself. I just bought one, although I didn't take delivery yet. But they said they tend to have like this aura about it, right? Like Elon and Steve Jobs and all these guys, they have an aura about them. And they're able to attract people that become like disciples of the product or the company. And he's making that comparison because it's true. Bitcoiners are like that. Bitcoiners really, really, really believe in it, right? And that's number one. So I think that's very, very interesting. Just that alone, if you remove everything else out there, all the external factors, just that alone will carry Bitcoin forward. So that's very important. And also, he makes a comparison that he's never seen a hedge that actually has intelligent like technology investment behind it. So that's kind of interesting, right? Because he makes the argument like if you look at something like a hedge like gold, you're really making a bet against the demise of society because you're saying that society is going to get bad, and fiat is going to become devalued. That's why you're buying something like gold as a hedge. But when you're buying Bitcoin as a hedge, that's not the case. You're not betting that you're wishing for a demise of the world. Maybe some of you guys are wishing the demise of banks and fiat, but you're really betting on technology too, right? So I think that's very interesting. I haven't heard anyone else put it like that, where if you put money against a hedge, against anything else that exists right now, besides Bitcoin, you're really betting on the demise of something. But when you're betting on Bitcoin, that doesn't necessarily mean the case. You're betting on crypto, blockchain, the future, the evolution that may come from it, and it's still acting like a hedge and store of value. So couple interesting things he said in there, really interesting, but it shows another person that early on really didn't believe in Bitcoin. This year got introduced, and he even said himself he's trying to prepare for what the governments are doing around the world with their printing and a stimulus package and economic relief plans or whatever. He's trying to prepare for that. And a lot of self-made billionaires or multimillionaires, they're all trying to prepare. Whether or not inflation, hyperinflation really comes, they're all trying to prepare. And that's why they're all turning to Bitcoin, because where else are you going to put your money, right? That's the thing. They've I don't know, they opened their eyes to Bitcoin now. Let's just put it that way. So very, very interesting. Very interesting. All right. Besides Paul Tudor Jones, what else is there? There's a lot. Let's start out with active addresses. Active Bitcoin addresses at the highest since 2017's 20,000 price record. That shows you how many people are actually getting involved with Bitcoin once again. So back in December 2017, number of addresses or active ones, a little bit according to this, over 400,000. And now it's getting to that point once again. So Bitcoin is not even at 20,000 and it's already attracting that many people to it. So imagine once Bitcoin actually does reach 20,000 again and goes beyond, it's gonna be nutty once again. So this also shows that the network is building up, right? This is healthy. As Bitcoin goes up, as there's more people getting involved, of course, then the number of addresses is going to go up. So very positive metric that shows, yeah, people that get involved in Bitcoin is increasing, but it's still relatively small on a grander scheme. You look at how many people are out there on planet Earth, or even in the U.S. alone. I mean, there's just not a whole lot of people into Bitcoin yet. But one day, when they do become interested or they want to get involved, it may be too late at that point, right? All right, so besides active Bitcoin addresses, let's look at total hash rate. It was just at all-time high. It has come down a little bit, but overall, you could see for this past year, it's been doing nothing but going up, right? A few big dips, interesting. Few big dips, but overall, just like the price, it always recovers and the Bitcoin hash rate continues to go up. Bitcoin is the only crypto where price follows the hash rate, not vice versa. Every other crypto, every other altcoin out there, the hash rate follows the price. The price goes up, hash rate goes up, price goes down, hash rate goes down. With Bitcoin, it's the only one where hash rate continues to go up because the miners believe in it that much. It's like the new oil for them. And they continue to spin up more miners, and that is why the difficulty continues to increase, and that's why the hash rate of the whole entire network keeps increasing. And the other plus side that I don't usually mention is, as the hash rate goes up and the number of miners goes up, it actually helps secure the network better. That's why you could argue the Bitcoin network is the most secure network on planet Earth. It hasn't been hacked in 11 years. And I think that's going to continue. All right. So active addresses up. Total hash rate is up. These are all pretty good. What else is there? Well, a lot of news. So PayPal, of course, recently declared that they were entering the Bitcoin and crypto space. They will be offering a wallet and you could buy directly on Bitcoin now. And every single PayPal merchant out there can instantly accept crypto payments pretty soon, right? They haven't fully enabled it as beta and they're still accepting users, but think about that. That's a lot of businesses that instantly overnight can accept Bitcoin and crypto. I don't know how many people will actually use it to pay for things, but you can. So it does help with adoption. It definitely helps attract attention. But now, PayPal's going all gung-ho. They don't want to stop there. They're looking into a custody service, right? Because if you have a whole bunch of people buying Bitcoins and it's being stored on PayPal wallet, and I'm hearing that you can't withdraw yet, you can only store in there. You can't send it to another wallet here or there. So you have to secure it, right? So they should have thought about this first before announcing. But anyways, so they're in talks to buy the custody service BitGo, which has been around for a while. According to Bloomberg, there was another article. I think BitGo was evaluated at around $150 million. So whether or not that's actually go through, I don't know. But as you can see, PayPal is taking this very, very seriously. They want to make sure that they do this right. They want to corner the market. Square is definitely the leader right now when it comes to Bitcoin transactions, buying and selling and sending and all that stuff. But PayPal, they want to corner that space. And someone else posted this that shows that PayPal is really kind of shilling now to its users. So someone decided to get on the wait list for the crypto wallet, right? And then you could see here, crypto and pizza, get it while it's hot. It's the only financial market that runs 24/7, 365 days a year. Since all crypto are global currencies without borders, prices change every minute of every day. So you can see that PayPal is starting to entice people to get in on Bitcoin. So again, I think this draws in a lot of attention. I think overall it's good. A lot of diehard Bitcoiners are like, this is bad. You know, we don't want PayPal. We don't want another central entity to get involved. But just think about how much attention this is going to bring to Bitcoin and crypto overall. I mean, PayPal is enormous. Almost every single vendor out there, I should say online vendor or online merchant, online store, whatever, almost every single one takes PayPal. So it definitely draws in a lot of attention to Bitcoin, and that's a good thing. All right. What else is there? Man, there's so much to talk about today. Michael Saylor of MicroStrategy now says the company will hold Bitcoin for 100 years. So unfortunately, I think MicroStrategy CEO Michael Saylor, he caught the Bitcoin bug and he realized he's kind of like a new face of Bitcoin now. So I feel he's going a little bit too far with his headlines and in quotes, because it wasn't too long ago when he declared that he bought Bitcoin and stuff, people started questioning on him. And then he started saying, okay, you know, just because I bought it doesn't mean I'm going to hold forever. I might just sell it all on a Saturday or something. He said something to that extent. Like he was trying to say that I'm still trying to be objective. I'm just holding Bitcoin because it's a smart investment and as smart as a reserve currency. But now, because he's become kind of like a Bitcoin bull, I think that's gone to his head. So now he's declaring that the company will hold Bitcoin for 100 years. How can we be sure of that? I mean, he can't, right? He's not going to live for 100 years. So who knows what happens after another CEO takes over. So you can't really make promises like this. But anyways, MicroStrategy kind of opened Pandora's box for Wall Street companies, publicly traded companies, to buy Bitcoin. They were the very first one to come out. I wouldn't say they were well known, but I guess they were somewhat reputable as a business intelligence company. They bought Bitcoin. They publicly declared they bought Bitcoin, and it wasn't just a small amount. They bought like 200 something million the first time around. And you know what? Their stock actually went up. People actually applauded this, right? And now, because of it, you're hearing a lot more companies coming out saying we're buying Bitcoin, right? So again, they kind of opened Pandora's box. And I do think that we're going to hear more and more and more and more companies open up and say we bought 50 million or 100 million or 200 million dollars worth of Bitcoin. So it's good. They kind of open a Pandora's box, and I think that's good for Bitcoin because these companies, they're just buying all the Bitcoin that's available, right? And that is why Bitcoin's price is so stable. It just doesn't seem like it wants to come down because everyone's buying whatever they can, and that's a good thing. And speaking of buying whatever they can, Grayscale adds a cool $300 million worth of Bitcoin in a single day, and they have bought $1 billion worth of Bitcoin this past week. $1 billion in a single week. So now they hold 7.3 billion in Bitcoin in assets under management. I mean, that's a huge rise, right? Grayscale is just loading up on Bitcoin, mostly because their clients want it. Their clients want it. They're offering the Bitcoin Trust, right? They have to maintain a certain amount of Bitcoin, but this is a lot of Bitcoin. This shows you how much institutional interest there is right now. I mean, a lot of people is buying Bitcoin. And if this continues, think about it. They already have $7 billion worth of Bitcoin on hand. And you may be thinking $7 billion out of, what is it, 200 something? What is it now? Let's bring it up. Coin market cap, 237 billion, right? So that's what, roughly 3%? That's a good amount. That's 3% of the Bitcoin out there. And you know what? This is based on the circulating supply, and we know that the circulating supply is wrong. Approximately 30% of that is gone. So if you look at, even based on this, they own 3% of the total market. But if you take away 30% of it, Grayscale owns probably 4 to 5% of Bitcoin out there. That's a lot, and they're increasing this, right? I don't know if it's a good thing eventually. Let's say Grayscale gets up to like 20% or 30% of all Bitcoin, and they're holding that much. I don't know if that's a good thing because now you have one central entity that's controlling too much. So I'll admit that you don't want it to get to that high, but this kind of shows you whatever amount Bitcoin is being sold right now, whatever the miners are mining, whatever the bears are trying to sell, you have companies like Grayscale that's just gobbling it up, gobbling everything up. This is why Bitcoin has been so stable for the last few months and why it just continues to inch higher. It's not making big jumps. It's not like before, right? It's not like Bitcoin jumped 1,000 points overnight. No, it's like $50 today, $100 tomorrow, $50 the next day, right? And it's just doing small increments, and now we're at $13,000. So, yeah, Bitcoin's been gobbled up. So you gotta get it. You gotta get as much as you can while you still can. That's not financial advice, but honestly, that's what I'm doing. Even though it's at 13,000, and I should have bought a ton more at 6,000 or 3,000, I realized that, but still. Where Bitcoin is right now is still very, very cheap compared to where it will be, right? I honestly believe that. I honestly believe in another year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, it doesn't matter. If I'm streaming and I'm bringing up TradingView, this number will be 3x, 5x, 10x higher than where it is. And at that point, it's just simply not reasonable for an average person to even own one Bitcoin, not even 0.1 Bitcoin at that point, right? If Bitcoin's at $100,000, very little people could just shill out $10,000 to buy 0.1 Bitcoin. So just think about that. To even own 0.1 Bitcoin in the future will be very, very, very difficult. Right now, it's hard to own 1 Bitcoin, but in the future, it's going to be hard to own 0.1 Bitcoin. So just think about that. So I'm doing what Grayscale is doing, basically buying what I can when I can, dollar cost averaging, and I'm making sure I'm stocking up Bitcoin because there's just not that much to go around. All right, and speaking of institutional interest, besides Grayscale, CME, which we hear a lot about, they have become the second biggest Bitcoin futures market. I'm surprised by this. I'm surprised they're not number one already. But it seems like OKX actually has the biggest futures market, then CME, then, here I'll zoom in, Binance, BitMEX. This will probably drop to zero soon as BitMEX gets closed down, as all the founders are being tracked by authorities right now. Huobi, and then it goes on and on and on. Back seems like it's a failed experiment at this point. It seems like Back was just a publicity play. You know, Kelly Loeffler, you know, she was appointed. They announced way too early, didn't get anything done, and now that they've come out, she gets appointed to a Senate seat or whatever, and she has nothing to do with Bitcoin or Bitcoin futures anymore. I mean, Back seems like it was just like a political play, unfortunately. Like, there's just nothing being done with Back. But CME is still growing. But anyways, this kind of shows you institutional interest is growing too. Growing by a lot, right? Again, every Bitcoin is being gobbled up, gobbled up. So there's just not that much to go around pretty soon. All right. I think that's it for Bitcoin. So there's a few other crypto news. Number one, VeChain. People love VeChain, and I do too. They have partnered up with Renji Hospital and DNVGL to launch the world's first blockchain intelligent tumor treatment center. Interesting. So this Renji Hospital, top-ranked hospital in China, affiliated with the Shanghai Jiaotong University School of Medicine, announced the world's first blockchain-enabled intelligent tumor treatment center. It is going to be a transparent, efficient, and traceable medical management solution powered by VeChain Thor. So this is one of the reasons why that I love VeChain, because they are very, very, very involved within China right now, right? Nothing gets done. There's no business. Nothing really gets done in China unless you have some kind of state approval, right? And if you see the number of companies and who the companies are that's involved with VeChain, you know that VeChain is getting approval from the government. And that's very, very important if you want to survive in China, which they are, right? So VeChain is doing their thing. I know they haven't risen to top 10 yet, but I really do think they will someday. and they just continue to form more and more alliances, and VeChain Thor is being used. It's not waiting, it's not pending, it's not waiting to be done. You know, there's no more builds and add-ons. It's done. It's being used. So another good use case, or I say partnership for VeChain. Another one that no one really talks about anymore, Kick. Remember Kick? You know, they're trying to come out their crypto. They held a ICO, I guess, or token sale. SEC said no, you did a legal token sale, and Kick said they were going to shut down Kin, and then they decided to fight them. Anyways, they resolved their case, so they have agreed to pay $5 million settlement with SEC. So this is how it is. The SEC went after EOS, and EOS paid like $5 million. They went after a lot of these companies, so it just ends up being a fine. So the SEC doesn't actually tell them you have to shut down. They're just saying, okay, you conducted a wrong token sale, pay us some money, and we'll go away. That's pretty much what they're saying. They just want to cut. And I don't know why a lot of these companies, they've raised like $100 million through their token sale. Just pay the $5 million and get it over with, right? It just go. Life goes on. So I don't know why it's so difficult. I remember Kin, they raised a large amount. So I don't know why this battle took this long to settle. They could have just paid it and been done with it a while. So now it seems like they're okay. They can continue this, but whether or not anyone cares anymore, I don't know. I don't know. So I forget what the Kin is supposed to be used for anyways. I think it's a network to move their messaging platform to, but is anyone using Kick these days? I don't even remember. I mean, I don't know. All right. Besides that, one of my insiders, Phil, he sent me this, and this is hilarious. This has nothing to do with crypto. Los Angeles driver stops for gas while being chased by the police. I don't know the backstory, if he stole a car or something, but, you know, the helicopter, the news crew caught this where the cops are going after him, and somehow he pulled away or something like that, and he actually had time because he ran out of gas, had time to go to the gas station, pumping gas, of course, didn't pay, and just drove off, and he still had enough time to do that. Which is really funny. So a good thing that he wasn't in a Tesla or stole a Tesla or something, because if he had to stop by a supercharger and charge, that would have never finished. So I just thought that was funny. Very funny. All right. So overall, CMC, BD's dominance still above 61%. It was a little bit higher yesterday, so it does show that some alts started coming back up, but not too much. Overall, the actual market cap actually went down about 2%. So yeah. So that in a nutshell is what's going on with Bitcoin and crypto. I mean, overall, you could see it's hugging this 13,000 line. That's not bad at all. If you zoom out a little bit, man, I gotta zoom out way out here. So let's just go to weekly. Here. You can see this definitely broke through a previous resistance or previous high, and it has been difficult. It has been difficult to break through this 12,000 barrier, right? And now that it has, and if you're looking at this shape, this is looking like it just wants to do that, right? It's looking very, very positive. Brief periods where Bitcoin goes sideways, there's some up and downs, right? But after it's ready, boom. And that's what's happening right now. So Bitcoin looking very positive indeed. All right, let me turn to you guys for some Q&A, and we'll go from there. Unstoppable ETC network. Coca-Cola, you still believe in Ethereum Classic? Well, that's that's conviction for you. So that's really good. Sometimes you just you gotta have conviction, right? Um, that's kind of what Paul DeDore Jones was saying, right? You have so many Bitcoiners that is just truly convinced that Bitcoin is the way to go, right? They have that conviction, and that's what you need. What car would be best to steal, assuming you need a very large fuel tank and long range to outrun the cops? Probably like what Toyota did with the commercial. Um, what was it? Oh shoot, I forgot. Prius. They'll probably outrun them. You'll get like 700 miles to the tank. But I don't know if you go very fast in a Prius. Why are altcoins dumping with no pump? Because the momentum has swung back to Bitcoin. This always happens. We tend to forget, or at least people don't listen, but throughout a lot of these periods, okay, where Bitcoin is pumping and pumping and pumping and the momentum is there, you know, everyone wants to bet on the fastest horse, right? And they bet on Bitcoin. So they move all their alts out and put it into Bitcoin. Until that stops, until that momentum truly stops, you know, the money is not going to flow back into altcoins because people are just betting on Bitcoin. So that is the thing. Unfortunately, though, recently, the last 2 weeks, 3 weeks, right? Unfortunately, though, with that said, even though if Bitcoin pumps, you know, alts go down, right? If Bitcoin dumps, alts go down. So that's the painful thing that sometimes in both cases alts go down while Bitcoin still has a positive side. So sometimes that happens, but there's been times where Bitcoin is moving sideways like this and alts do relatively well, right? So it comes and goes, but honestly, right now it's time to pay attention, more attention to Bitcoin than alts, in my opinion. Why can't Elon mine Bitcoin in space with solar? Uh, First of all, solar will not produce enough electricity for for those mining rigs. That's for sure. Unless he had a nuclear power plant floating in space and then he hooks it up to like a floating mining farm, then that would be perfect. That would probably be perfect. Um, you don't have to worry about fans. You know, you don't have to worry about AC. You don't have to worry about anything. It'll run. But you got to get a nuclear power plant up there first. Austin, welcome. Space is fake. Come on, even if you're a flat earther, space is still not fake. Are you a flat earther? Is that why? Why PayPal buy another fintech? Are you talking about this? BitGo is a custody service. They're a custodian. They help people store Bitcoin. It makes a whole lot of sense. PayPal wants to get in the game. You know, a lot of companies like Coinbase, even Gemini, and others, they have bought or they offer their own custody because they're storing crypto for people. So, of course, PayPal entering the game, they want to do that too. So, yeah. And I don't think this is going to be the last acquisition either. PayPal is probably eyeing a lot of companies in this space. You know, they're probably looking at like a security company also, right? Maybe an audit company, a security company. You know, maybe they even buy, I don't know. I don't know what else they could buy. Maybe PayPal is working on their own crypto too. Maybe this is just the beginning. Maybe they come out with the PayPal coin. Who knows? Who knows? That could happen too. So. No, no, Chicago Brew. I watched the video and they showed he didn't pay. I don't know where the hell he was or what gas station he was at, but he didn't pay. Because the helicopter filmed the whole thing. So I don't know where you go that you don't have to prepay. Do I want to review a 1,000 horsepower Hellcat? Yeah, that actually would be a good car to review. Though I don't know. I've been trying new things with my drivers only channel. Mostly it's just car reviews, normal car reviews, but been doing a few more blogs style, videos, and they have been doing well. So I might start introducing some cooler cars doing the blog style. Because when I officially review like somewhat of like a expensive or exotic car, it doesn't do well. But maybe if I do something like a blog style video, that would be pretty cool. Peter Schiff, I went on Twitter and I wanted to see if he was active, and he still is. But man, if you look at like the tweets that or responses, I don't know why I have Charlie Lee up here, but I don't want to cite it right now. Let's do Peter. If you look at some of these comments, it's like it's like really, really bad. They're all Bitcoiners. Or maybe he removed them all. So maybe not this one. I was just on the other day, and every single one was about Bitcoin. No. I think he removed them. Well, there's still a few Bitcoin. But yeah, there was some. Like, this is why he continuously talks about Bitcoin. Because a lot of his audience, if not most, are Bitcoiners. And, he's just getting people riled up so he gets more attention. But anyways, he's facing some serious charges. 9 countries going after him for tax evasion. So, pretty serious stuff. Polkadot's Uniswap DEX called Polka Starter. Will 100x? I don't know. Maybe. It just seems like sometimes it seems like it's almost random, right? But Uniswap is supported by a lot of big known entities in this space, like Coinbase, for example. And I believe even Binance has a little piece of Uniswap. I may be wrong about that, but sometimes it's about who you know. So sometimes when these coins pump, it seems random, but it's really because they know people, and those people are helping them pump. I did not hear about that Hellcat that outran the helicopter. I heard that police is trying to chase after bikers, like those, like sport bikes that go like 200 miles per hour. Like, supposedly, if they take off, you're supposed to just let them go because it's too dangerous to chase after them. That's what I heard before as a kid. I don't know if that's really true or not. Because it makes sense. There's no way, a regular cop car could keep up with a sports bike, especially one that's pretty powerful, like a 600cc engine or something like that. But I don't know if that's true or not. So, Hastings, welcome. Bruce, that's a good question. Bruce asks, can you explain in a real way why you're not staking? Have coins at hand. Doesn't really explain it. It does. I have everything like set in my wallets and stuff. I'm honestly, I just don't want to move them. I just don't feel a need to do so, right? I'm comfortable where everything is stored at right now. And sometimes I want to make a trade. Sometimes I do want to trade. I don't want to go through the hassle on staking and moving it back and moving it to somewhere, and a lot of it just seems like it's not worth it in my opinion. I've never believed in, and this could sound naive or stupid, but like I never believed in a lot of like the savings stuff. First of all, I never believed in savings in the first place. I believe that if you want to have money, you're not going to get it through savings. You get it by making more money. You get it by making more money than you spend. And it's a vicious cycle because as you spend more, you have to figure out how to make more, right? But that's how I always lived until I got older and I have kids. So now I care more about savings, but still not to the extent that I should, I guess. Like savings accounts and checking accounts, mutual funds, even 401k. I just think the interest is not worth it. It doesn't appeal to me. I'd rather have that money and invest in Bitcoin or stocks or something, or basketball cards that has a lot more growth potential than putting in something that's gaining 2, 3, 4% a year. It's not appealing to me at all. So that probably plays into why I don't stake. Alex, welcome. Polkadot staking is worse. Takes 28 days to unstake. Yeah, I mean, everyone has their own thing, right? And then sometimes you gotta stake. You gotta put it through. There's some kind of web wallet or official wallet or something. You gotta move it off your ledger. I mean, there's just complications, right? So it's just difficult sometimes. Buzz, man, you must have missed a lot of my streams. Basketball cards have been skyrocketing. The performance on cards this year has been staggering. So it outperformed probably even Tesla stock. everything I've bought so far has gone up like 3, 4, 5x. So yeah. Yeah, no, they're not doomed. Do you think a Roth IRA is good to have? I mean, it's smart to have. All the traditional stuff, obviously having a 401k, having IRA. I mean, those are all good stuff. Sound financial advice, right? To prepare for the future. So you really got to talk to a financial advisor about that. Yeah. When it comes to collectibles, and it's just not cards, it could be art, or it could be cars, right? Anything that's a collectible, an antique. This is why I've always hated all crypto projects that's trying to digitize something. Digitize real estate, digitize a sports car, digitize, I don't know, art. That's why it doesn't make any sense to me, because collectibles are meant to be held or hung up or seen or driven. Okay, it doesn't make sense to digitize it. It makes sense for the person that's digitizing it and basically selling off pieces of it, because they still get to own it and they have money on hand. But as a person, I just don't see how that makes any sense, right? So as for collectibles, I think it has to be physical. It has to be physical if it's some sort of collectible, because you need to draw in too. A lot of it is like emotions, you have to have that physical connection to it. So going back to what someone was saying, like digital cards, yeah, that's not gonna work. I mean, some of them are worth money, but they're not worth as much as the ones that are physical. Urban sexy man. I mean, that is the point. I think they do that on purpose, that cards are off-centered and not perfect condition, because that helps the grading market. That helps the grading companies, which really sucks right now because they're really, really backfilled. I submitted cards to PSA and SGC like 4 months ago, and they're still pending when they're supposed to have like a 30-day turnaround. But I think that plays into it. That is why if you get a PSA 10 card, one that is perfectly centered, perfect corners, perfect surface, everything, it's worth so much more, right? I think that plays into it. But yeah, I do wish that any other company besides Panini would offer cards, but they bought the rights. I hate this thing about like sports leagues selling their rights. Like before Madden took over, let's say, football games, right? Before you had NFL 2K and then Madden 2K or whatever, and then it was good because I liked playing NFL 2K. I think it was called NFL 2K. This was like 20 years ago. But then NFL decided to sell their rights to a football game, and then of course EA Sports bought it for Madden because it's the most popular. And then now you can only have football games that's Madden or EA. And same thing, like basketball rights got sold to 2K Sports, so that's why it's always like 2K 20, 21, whatever. I just don't get that. Same thing with cards. They sell like the whole league's rights. I hate that. It should be just more open, more competitive. But anyways, I don't like it. But of course, the leagues are getting paid hundreds of millions of dollars, so they're not gonna mind. PSA is definitely the best value, but PSA they keep raising their price. I think it's $50 now to grade a normal card. 50 when it was like $5 or $10 before, because there's so many people that's grading cards. Cards have gone up so much in value. Graded cards went up exponentially, so that's why PSA could do it, because their cards command the most price. Should I? Buzz, again, you got to get with the program. I came back months ago. Should I keep holding band? Yes and no. I would say yes. For most parts, more yes than no. Let's just look at band really quick, because it is the second biggest Oracle play. But since it kind of got popular, the price went up. A lot of these other protocols started coming out their own. So it kind of diluted them. And then also Band got associated with DeFi, and DeFi is not doing too well right now. But overall, you look at where Band started, like 20 cents, all the way up to $18. Even at $5, this is still like 20 or 30x from the bottom, right? So this is still, if you look at a grander view, this is pretty healthy. In fact, you look at the weekly stochastic actually bottomed out. This could actually be a pretty good time to pick it up. So, I mean, on a grander scheme of things, this weakness right here, I know it sucks if you're buying from up here. And it sucks, but if you look at a grander picture, this is actually a pretty good consolidation point. You could see the curve, right? It kind of bottomed out here, and it could be on its upswing soon. So, Band overall, second biggest Oracle play. It's needed in the space, but it got drawn down because of DeFi bubble kind of bursting and altcoins showing weakness and so forth. So if you're holding it, you might as well hold it, because it looks like it did bottom out, and it could have a good upside and come back up above $10 and beyond in the near future. Quarter crawler, like most of the other guys, Ron Harper, unfortunately, Kareem, Magic, they're, unless those cards are in perfect condition and graded, they're not worth much. Jordan cards, on the other hand, are worth a lot. Specifically, there are a few rare inserts or just regular inserts at the time that have exploded. So I have a binder of Jordans that I kept before, and I was looking through them, and some of them before are worth like $1 or $2. Now they're worth like a few $100s. So yeah, it could be good if you have a whole bunch of Jordans. I have in my drawer, I have this many cards waiting to be graded. I just never sent it in because the other ones still haven't come back. I think I have some Jordans in here. Yeah, see, like I found some Jordans like this. Like these are just like some random inserts that weren't worth a lot before, but like for example, this Flair Ultra Jordan. This is worth like $75 on eBay now. If this grades well, this will be like $400 or $500. So, you know, stuff like that I just found in a binder, like among my Jordans. Right, here's another one. Here's a Topps one. These are very, very common inserts. They're not hard, but over the years, people have just like thrown them out. Right, like here's a gold medallion one. And that's the beauty about grading. You know, some people make the argument that grading kind of ruined it, but I think grading made things more fun because these cards that are worth, you know, $5, $10, let's say $100, if they grade well, it's an exponential factor. A PSA 10 on a base card, I'll say it's $100. A PSA 10 will be worth like $1,000. So it's a big boost. So if you do have some old cards laying around, you might as well, you know, pull them out and take a look at prices on eBay. And prices all follow eBay now. Before you had Beckett and everyone's looking through price guides or whatever. It's all based on eBay now. So just see what past ones sold or what they're going for. That is the market price. Yeah, Buzz, I've been on YouTube for at least 3 months now. At least 3 months. So, you may have noticed that I don't stream on Twitch anymore. Not that I wanted to give up on Twitch or Periscope. I wanted to stream on all of them because I was using Restream. But the way YouTube is set up, I can't get Restream to work where it's streaming on YouTube and other platforms. So that's why I don't stream on those other ones anymore. And it's just frustrating to stream on Twitch because their search is not, it's not really meant to be like based on a topic. You're searching by like streamers' names. So I hate that. I hate all these streaming services that's like that. That's why nothing could compete with YouTube because you can't search for anything. You can't. So it kind of sucks. Yeah. Yeah, Chad, that's true. The difference between an 8 and a 9 is huge. You know, roughly, I was just looking at this. I was calculating before. A PSA 9 is about 1/4 what a PSA 10 is. Okay, so just think about that. An 8 is probably like half of what a 9 is. So that's how it goes. And 9.5, which is not PSA, it's BGS. It's another company. They offer like half intervals. But 9.5 is about half of 10. So you got 10, and then you got 9.5, which is about half. And then you go to 9, which is about a quarter. And then you go to 8, which is probably 1/8 of a 10. So approximately, but it doesn't always work that way. But it's pretty close. Do you know how each BTC investor that lost money in Mt. Gox will get paid in compensation? It's based on the dollar value at that time. It's not based on how much Bitcoin they had at the time, which would be crazy because at that time Bitcoin was like $200 or something. So most people that held on there have had 20, 30, 50, 100 Bitcoins, right? If they get that now, they'll be millionaires. But it's based on how much they had at a time. So if it was worth $1,000, $5,000, you're getting back that much. Supposedly. I don't know if you even get that much or you get like a percentage of that much. But I haven't heard much about that. I think people are still waiting for it. So, do you check StockSUns? They trade a lot of things. 30-day contract. One point. I don't know what StockSUns are. This year, Buzz. This year. 2020, since the pandemic happened, that's when cards, more so on basketball cards. The other ones, football and baseball, not so much, although they have been going up. Like a Mike Trout rookie card sold for like $800,000. There was another one that sold recently. I forgot. It was a football or baseball card that sold for millions. A LeBron rookie sold for $1.9 million. But mostly basketball cards got hot. Now it's carrying into football and baseball. So, But yeah, I started in 2020, really. Cheer up. You're young, healthy, and soon to be really wealthy. I hope so. I hope so. And I hope you will be too. Um, we'll see where Bitcoin goes. What? All right. I think that's it. Almost an hour. Bitcoin, there's so much good news about Bitcoin right now, right? Like right now, if you're still paying attention to Bitcoin's like 100 point, 200 point swings daily, you're doing it wrong, right? You need to zoom out and look at the bigger picture here, okay? Bitcoin is definitely moving up. It's breaking through previous highs, and that's because there's just so much going on right now, so much to support it. You have companies like Grayscale that's buying $1 billion of Bitcoin per week, okay, per week. And you have big financial institutions like PayPal that's going all gung-ho about Bitcoin. And you have big macro investors like Paul Tudor Jones that is buying more Bitcoin because he's so bullish on Bitcoin. There's just not that much to go around anymore. So if you're not bullish on Bitcoin right now, unfortunately, if you wait too long, you might be left behind. The train would have taken off and you're going to be left staying at the station. All right, guys, that is it. No one asked me about XRP today. I'm surprised. But have a good Friday. Have a happy Friday this weekend. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens if we have some good moves. I'm thinking Bitcoin will probably continue to go up. Bitcoin, you know, because if you look at the technicals, I mean, a lot of these technicals, like 4 hour daily, were a little bit too high. That's why Bitcoin could be coming down a little bit. But overall, the trend is up. Actually, on the 4 hour, looks pretty good. This is a healthy pullback right here. Martin. Well, thank you for that. I mean, OMG hasn't changed. Their biggest news is Tether moved their entire network to OMG. And that is very bullish. And I thought more companies would follow suit, but I haven't heard much. But the fact that OMG's network can handle the entire Tether network, I guess, all the transactions that happen in a single day, that says something, that they have a really good and robust network. So OMG looks good. Looks good. All right, guys, that is it. Have a good weekend. Hit the like, subscribe to the channel, check out my car channel, drivers only. I'm going to have a lot more cars on there as well. And look and stay tuned to my future videos on crypto. Maybe this weekend, if Bitcoin starts shooting up again to 14,000, I'll definitely have another live stream. So follow me on Twitter. That's when I post these kind of things. All right, take care, guys. Bye-bye.